you come from wherever it is you come from, and then you get to the gate, at the NYS gate, and then they tell you to line up. So you come from with people you know, isn't it? So you line up. The minute you line up, you are in 3 or 4 files. And later they were called files. So you're in a file. That's the last time when you see the person you come with. Because you'll be taken to different houses.
The tagline on CTA is you never truly know people until you take the time out to get to know people. We are privileged and honored to have the CEO of Safaricom, Peter Ndegwa, with us, sharing his life story. I'm already beginning to get a thread from your story. I'm hearing a thread of discipline. I'm hearing a thread of values. I'm hearing a thread of exposure, of hard work. I wouldn't even say exposure. Exposure has just checked in. But how that has then shaped your life. And then now this is the first time I hear you talk about you're narrowing down on the direction of your life. So now you've talked about the finance world. You've not given us clarity, but at least there's a direction that I'm hearing you going to.
Yeah.
Let's transition now into NYS.
Yeah.
Oh no, actually, you didn't even say NYS. You said university. Of course,
NYS.
You do well.
Yeah, NYS.
You do well.
Yeah, yeah.
Because again, to get into the university, it was merit. I like the word.
Yeah, merit. Yeah, meritocratic. Yeah. So, but we did do the pre-university. We were the last lot to actually go through that pre-university NYS training.
Yes. What year is this?
Year 89.
89, huh?
So going into university, so complete A-levels in 88. Going into university in September of 89.
Okay.
Usually they would leave about 9 months. 3 months of which would be about 15 to 17 weeks would be NYS. So yes,
tell somebody what NYS is.
Yes, so National Youth Service, for those who might not know NYS, which in a way we knew about it, at least for the people who came from Starehe.
Yes.
Because late Griffin used to also run NYS. But this was a program that was modeled around pre-university public service, or in other countries it would be military service. But this was, you go into NYS for basic training. So you don't actually serve the country, you just go for basic training. So training around discipline, marching, the same way that the police force or the military would go for basic training. And you do all the routines other than dealing with firearms. So you don't handle firearms, like NYS, people don't handle firearms. But effectively you have 5,000 or so university students in one place, in Gilgil.
And this is only for students who've been accepted to the university?
Correct, yeah. So Gilgil for the boys and then Naivasha for the girls. And then you join, the two join together. The girls used to join about 2 weeks before pass out. Just so that you become one group that is passing out, now going into university. One of the best experiences I had, I have to be honest. There are quite a few people who actually, the going in position was, no way, I can't do it, and so on. Many people sought exemptions on medical grounds, genuine medical grounds, other non-genuine medical grounds. Actually, there's some people who faked their medical conditions. Yeah. There's a friend of mine who said, anyway, whatever, let me not go into that. But I can't, of course, I'll never mention names. But actually it was the trauma of what people had about NYS. Because you are trained from, say, you wake up at 4:30 and you sleep at 10.
So why do you say it was the best time for you?
It's only after.
Okay.
It's only once you go through the experience you realize. So the actual intensity, I'll give you some
scenarios.
Yeah, scenarios. So the first week, So first of all, you get into, you come from wherever it is you come from, and then you get to the gate, at the NYS gate, and then they tell you to line up. So you come from with people you know, isn't it? So you line up. The minute you line up, you are in 3 or 4 files. And the later they were called files. So you're in a file. That's the last time when you see the person you come with. Because you'll be taken to different houses. It wasn't organized by where you come from. It is just how you showed up.
On the line.
On the line. And actually, so you go and join whatever house you join. And the first week, I remember, you're in a barrack. I was in a barrack called Chad. It was based on whatever names of African countries. So I was in Chad. And just tell you how intense it was. The first week, none of us went to the washroom because you are consuming every single amount of food you eat, and
it's necessary for energy.
And so you kind of, and then if I was to tell you, so the morning, the way the day started is, you go in. You wake up, and then you are told there's something called 5BX. So you wake up just before 5, you go in and run along that Gilgil Road up there. And I think it's 5 miles or whatever. I can't remember how much time. And then they tell you have a break. So it's a 5 minutes break or something like that. Or I can't remember how much time. But when the afande says you have a break, everyone is on the ground asleep. And remember, it is cold in the morning, and you are asleep. So anytime you get a chance, you sleep. Then you go back, and then you're given tea with some bread. And then you know what the afande is telling you, your chai in mfupa. It doesn't, and it's hot, so you're supposed to finish quickly. But effectively, what it does is that the physical fitness is unbelievable, but the mental fitness is what you are trained on. I remember towards the end, we went to Tumaini, which is like 50 kilometers. We just walked. And you are walking with the rucksack and you have a uniform. And then it rained from the time when we actually almost, just after leaving Gilgil, it rained all the way to Tumaini. We walked and it didn't stop. You don't stop because it's raining. So you go in. The uniform that you are wearing is the same one you'll wear tomorrow. So you must find a way of the uniform getting dry. And then you need to sleep. So we slept in the uniform, whatever it is. The stuff that you learn how to survive. And actually you realize that the thing that limits us is just in your mind. So you pushed so hard. And remember, these are fairly accomplished individuals, very intelligent, but they are pushed physically so much. So it brings now their mental resilience into play. So by the time you leave, actually you find very little that worries you. So, and then the other thing is, when we went back to university, now we all know each other. So and also now there's a bond. Language is the same, So one of the reasons it was eliminated, it made the university students actually indisciplined, because now they know each other. Previously they would come from wherever it is, they would come, their classes and all that, but NYS equalized everyone. By the time you're in university, you actually don't see any class, socioeconomic, schools you came from, because you referred to people you went to the same barrack. So it was actually a fantastic, but of course you lose 10 kilos, but you get, it was actually, one of the milestones at least I always refer to is that NYS training. And then it allowed us also to actually be a lot closer to university with other students, and language is the same and so on.
Peter, as I hear your story, sometimes we think of this seat that you're sitting on called the Safaricom CEO. You are actually a typical Kenyan. The path that you've taken, I've sat with so many people on CTA and they've talked about this journey. Very similar, of course, not maybe similar schools. So you're not at this stage of your life or this part of the journey an anomaly?
No.
You understand what I mean?
Yes.
I'm hearing your story and I'm waiting to hear, oh, that is why you are, and that's very encouraging for somebody listening. That, oh, okay, it doesn't matter if I come from a poor background.
Yeah.
I don't have shoes to go to school.
Yeah.
If I put in this, it will allow me to take this next step. So I think I just wanted to stop and say that it's encouraging to hear that you're not special. And you know what I mean?
Yes.
As you're not a special human being.
No.
That you're seated here.
Very ordinary.
But I want you to continue the story now into university, because I want to hear, even though you're not a special human being, there must be some things that you've done differently from special.
Yeah.
There's something special you have done that has then led you to this seat.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for it as we continue the story.
No problem. So, by the way, just before I went to NYS, I went and taught in a school called Likoni Primary School.
What are you teaching?
You know, at that time, when people are studying A-levels, you are allowed as an untrained teacher.
Oh, so you made your first
train, to
you
teach.
Made your first money.
So I made a little cash. And actually, at that time, you are thinking, should I actually go and get employed or whatever? Anyway, that's a side thing. But
no, that's a big thing.
It's actually interesting. And that time, you know, you because you just left school, you are not very, age-wise and maturity-wise, you are not very far from the students. Only that you are teaching lower secondary. I think it was maths I was teaching.
Lower secondary?
Yes, you are teaching lower secondary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were going to tell me primary.
No. I was teaching in secondary school. But you are an untrained teacher, so basically you are not allowed to go too far. But there's some guardrails that are used to make sure that you don't do anything. But it was during the time when you had A-levels. So the people who've gone to A-levels can teach kind of Form 1, Form 2 type.
But you've brought up a very good point, and I'm even so happy you talked about this, because this is the stage where you make your first money.
Yeah.
This is when
I have some money.
And you're it is good.
Yes, it's very good. And I can buy the good things in life, including some drinks. and also go and pay for myself instead of worrying about how do I get pocket money. You know, in school you would try. I mean, pocket money was scarce when we were in high school. And also, you know, you could only use them to buy mandazi. When I went back to Starehe, I even saw the canteen. We used to go and buy mandazi. Yeah. So when you get and I can't remember how much it was. Honestly, I wish I could, but it was not a lot. Yeah. It wasn't much, but the satisfaction of feeling that I can actually use my hard-earned money to buy something. But it wasn't for long. It was for a short.
Yeah, but then in university, you also got...
Yes. No, yeah. So I went to study economics.
Okay.
At Nairobi University, and
89.
Okay. And those were the days, the good old days of boom.
Boom.
Yes. You know, and I'll tell you stories about boom. Yeah, and so boom that time. So first of all, you get a loan, which at that time we didn't actually know how much it was, but eventually I paid the loan. I paid the loan off after help. Yeah.
Okay.
So I paid
so you got your.
So that time, every single student got a loan as long as you are admitted to university. Wow. So you got a loan, and boom is part of the loan. Remember, you steal your own money, but you didn't realize then.
Explain to somebody what boom is.
Yes. So boom. So this whole higher education loan board gives you a loan to make sure that the university can fund your education for the full 3 years that you are in university, or whatever number of years that you are in university. You go to your local bank and sign off the paperwork, which at that time it was KCB, so I went to Nyahururu branch and signed off. And then it included stipend, which was what was called boom. And boom because it basically made you rich. At that time, just to tell you just how much money, value of money has degraded, we used to get 5,000 shillings for a term, 1 term, a lot of money. And then let me tell you why it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So first, and I used to sell these products. The products I used to sell, a bottle of the small Tusker, not the big one, the small Tusker, with 100 shillings, you'd buy 10 of them.
What?
100 shillings. So there's one chap I remember in the main campus used to, and that time actually people were quite well behaved. There was not a lot of thuggery. So he would put his boom in his wardrobe up there in his wardrobe, and would say every time I'm going out, I would pick 100. So you'd pick 100 to go out, because the entry into the nightclubs, Ainsworth or Bubbles or even other places was not very much.
Peter, you're a guy of the turn-up.
The drinks, yes, the drinks.
You're a guy of the turn-up. You're here looking like you're just an education guy. So you're a guy of turn-up.
Yeah. So, and I used to share a room with a guy who was very interested in. You would go and give the DJ some cassettes. That time it was cassettes. Those and you'd buy. One of the things that people would buy when they get boom is
the boom box.
Yes, which would have that cassette which played continuously. What was it? Auto reverse. Do you remember those things?
No,
no. I'm saying not remember in terms of remember, but in terms of know.
Yes.
Yeah. So auto reverse, so you can play that, and so basically the boom could buy you anything you wanted. And because the university would cater for everything, so
and for catering, you mean food, accommodation,
everything. That time we used to. I remember there was a time we had a strike at the university because we were given goat meat instead of meatballs. Literally, by the way, we had a strike. So those were the days that university was spoiled. The students were spoiled. And but boom was very useful because it also equalized everyone. Okay. So it didn't matter where you came from. So effectively, first of all, you don't need very much because you don't need to buy food. And then secondly, now you can meet all these other small needs that you need to meet. And frankly, it was enough.
Were you sending money back home from your boom? Yeah.
At the time, I remember I could support, but it wasn't like an expectation that you would use the boom to send money home. Okay. But support you would, but it's not that. I'll talk about supporting family, because I've supported family more or less all my life.
Yeah, in fact, that's what I was asking, because I was wondering. Anyway, we'll talk and you let me know when it starts.
Yeah. But so the university education, the university time was a very freeing time, because all you needed to focus on was academics and whatever else that was going on.
What's the goal?
So this time now that I'm studying economics, the goal is I go into the finance or business side. My objective at the time was to work with a global organization, either as a management trainee, like in a Unilever or whatever, because you could see all these guys coming to pick up people in university, or the Big Four. Those were that was the mindset at that time. Okay. And so it was. So at the end of the third year, and I still remember, I think we completed university around September. Graduated in October. But I remember just before we left university, I went for my letter on Koinange Street, which is where PwC was based, PW Pricewaterhouse, in a Tansi building called, it was called Rahimtula. No, Latansi was the Koinange one. Rahimtula is the Upper Hill one. So I got my letter that had been accepted in Pricewaterhouse as a management.
Had you applied?
Yes, applied, did all the interviews, and
Wow.
all that. So that time they used to come to university, so the partners to recruit and so on and so forth. So everyone applies, and that time I remember our that class of 92 was 20 people were recruited out of all the universities. So I joined Pricewaterhouse.
Just a throw-in into Safaricom.
Yeah.
Does Safaricom do that? I mean, I know it's definitely different times. This was a time where there was so much demand for talent. You get what I mean? The demand was so high. Would that be a consideration? Because now it's a lot of guys are tamaking.
No, so let's not. The fact that companies used to come means that they were very. So I think companies were much more proactive in going to universities to make their case. But also they all wanted the top students. It doesn't mean that the people who are in university were all being employed.
I get it.
You get what I mean? So remember that I said in NYS we were 5,000 in that lot. So PwC, Pricewaterhouse recruiting 20. So the big four will probably recruit 100. So it's still a drop in the ocean. But
they knew where to find the talent.
Yes, they knew. They were much more deliberate, I should say. I think we still do it. We interact at Safaricom. We interact with universities, but because of digital nowadays, we have like 10,000 applications.
I get it.
Then you filter it in the normal way.
I get it.
Yeah, but these guys would say you go to university, they would still receive lots of application, and then they had a system of how they filter them initially. Then they do an interview. Then you go through various interviews, manager interview, etc., until partner interview. And
I get it. The demand for talent was higher than the supply. For maybe that in terms of
no, the supply was higher than demand for even that time.
Even for that time.
That the supply, I think the paths were clearer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the career path, the who employs and so on and so forth. But it wasn't.
So nothing much has changed in terms of demand versus supply.
No. There isn't much in the context of the roles that were there, because I would assume these firms would be recruiting multiples of what they recruited then. You get what I mean?
Okay,
because they are much bigger firms. But actually the balance between demand and supply was still weighted to supply.
Okay.
Yeah, because remember that time the universities had expanded massively. Yeah, you had 5 universities at the time, and with different colleges.
Yes.
So it's not even a university.
You had your Parklands.
Yeah, exactly.
For the School of Law.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. So
you get into it's not PwC at the time.
It is Pricewaterhouse. It was what is like getting to Pricewaterhouse or these types of firms was like going into the what are they called, national schools. You know, the alliances and the Starehes. It was the same league. So it was.
It's like going into Safaricom.
Correct. Correct.
I could see you were struggling to see it because you're like, oh shucks.
No, I was going back to the transition when you were coming from school.
Yes.
Now coming out of university, going into these farms was like the way we were looking for the best.
I get it.
The best high school. So, and actually, what we saw then, or at least what I saw, and my peer group was, PwC gave you opportunity, or that type of firm gave you opportunity as a platform for you, whatever career you want.